Most people lose battles before they even open their mouths, not because they are weak, not because they are wrong, but because they are emotional, and emotion is expensive. The moment someone insults you, challenges you, mocks you, or tries to provoke you, they are making an offer. A trap disguised as a conversation, a test disguised as criticism, a battlefield disguised as a simple exchange. The average person accepts that offer immediately. They defend, they explain, they react, they raise their voice, and in doing so, they surrender control. Machiavelli understood something dangerous about human nature. Whoever controls the emotional temperature controls the outcome. The person who remains calm while others become emotional automatically gains power. Think about it. When someone desperately wants a reaction from you and fails to get one, something strange happens. Their confidence begins to crack. Their certainty weakens. Their attack loses force. Because conflict requires participation. A fire cannot burn without oxygen, and many people spend their entire lives handing oxygen to everyone who wants to burn them. That ends today. The first smart response that silences anyone is deceptively simple. You might be right. That's it. No argument, no defense, no emotional explanation, just calm acceptance. Watch what happens. Most people prepare for resistance. They expect you to fight back. They expect you to justify yourself. They expect a debate. But when you calmly say, "You might be right," their weapon suddenly has nowhere to go. The attack collapses under its own weight. Because the strongest man in the room is not the one who wins every argument. It is the one who refuses to become emotionally owned by another person's opinion. That response communicates something powerful. I am secure enough that your judgment does not control me. And that is terrifying to manipulative people. Remember this. When dogs bark at a mountain, the mountain does not bark back. It remains where it is, unmoved, untouched, unshaken. Most people speak to prove their strength. Powerful people speak because they choose to. There is a difference. From this moment forward, stop treating every criticism like an emergency. Stop treating every disagreement like a war. Stop giving strangers access to your peace, because the man who cannot be provoked becomes the man who cannot be controlled. If you're ready to become emotionally untouchable, comment, "My silence is power." And remember, this is only the first response. The next one is even more dangerous. The first smart response is not designed to win the argument. It is designed to expose the motive behind the argument. And that is why it is dangerous. When someone attacks you, mocks your ambition, questions your character, or tries to make you feel small in front of others, do not rush to defend yourself. Defense is often the language of guilt, even when you are innocent. The more you explain, the more they feel like the judge. The more you justify, the more you place them above you. And once a person feels they have the authority to interrogate your life, they will keep doing it until you remind them where the line is. So the second response is this. What exactly are you trying to achieve by saying that? Say it calmly. Say it slowly. Do not add anger. Do not add sarcasm. Do not smile too much. Let the sentence stand alone like a blade placed on the table. Because this response does something most people are not prepared for. It forces the attacker to explain their intention. It drags the hidden motive into the light. And manipulators hate light. They operate best in confusion, emotion, and social pressure. They want to insult you while pretending they are joking. They want to disrespect you while pretending they are helping. They want to weaken your confidence while pretending they are being honest. But the moment you ask, "What exactly are you trying to achieve by saying that?" the mask begins to slip. Now they must choose. Either they admit their intention was negative, or they retreat and pretend they meant nothing by it. Both outcomes are yours. Machiavelli would tell you that power is not always in striking back. Sometimes power is in making the other person reveal himself. A fool reacts to words. A strategist studies the purpose behind them, because words are rarely just words. They are probes. They are tests. They are small invasions. Someone says, "You think you're better than everyone now?" That is not a question. That is an attempt to pull you back into their comfort zone. Someone says, "You've changed." That is not always concern. Sometimes it is punishment for your growth. Someone says, "Who do you think you are?" That is not curiosity. That is fear wearing the costume of criticism. So instead of proving who you are, ask them why they need you to explain yourself. This is cold power psychology. Never let people trap you inside the emotional frame they created. If they throw disrespect at you and you throw disrespect back, they have successfully dragged you down to their level. But if you respond with precision, you rise above the battlefield and make them fight themselves. Understand this deeply. People who are used to provoking reactions become uncomfortable around a person who asks clean questions, because clean questions demand clean answers. And many people do not have clean intentions. They only have noise. They only have insecurity. They only have a secret desire to make you smaller so they can feel taller. But you are not here to become smaller. You are here to become untouchable. You are here to become the man whose presence makes disrespect hesitate before it speaks. That does not happen by shouting. That does not happen by acting tough. That happens when your mind becomes disciplined enough to stay still while another person exposes his weakness. The next time someone tries to insult you in a group, do not panic. Do not laugh nervously. Do not over-explain. Turn your eyes toward them and say, "What exactly are you trying to achieve by saying that?" Then stay quiet. The silence after the question is part of the response. Let them sit in it. Let the room feel it. Let their own words begin to look ugly in front of everyone. This is how you silence people without begging for respect. You make them responsible for the energy they brought. You make them carry the weight of their own intention. And most people are too weak to carry it. They will say, "Relax, I was just joking." Good. Now you know. They wanted the freedom to wound you without the courage to own it. They wanted the pleasure of disrespect without the price of accountability. That is the psychology of cowards. Do not become one by reacting like them. Stay composed, stay sharp, stay unreadable. A man who can question without trembling becomes difficult to dominate because he no longer plays defense in other people's games. He changes the game. He changes the room. He changes the balance of power. The world respects people who respect themselves without needing applause. And self-respect is not loud. It is not desperate. It is not theatrical. It is a quiet refusal to let anyone handle your dignity carelessly. From this day forward, when someone sends poison toward you, do not drink it. Inspect it, name it, return it to the sender with one calm question. Let them explain why they needed to say it. Let them expose the insecurity hiding behind the insult. And while they stumble, you remain still. That is the difference between a reactive man and a strategic man. One gets pulled into every storm. The other becomes the weather. If this is the version of yourself you are building, comment, "I control the frame." Because once you control the frame, you stop being the victim of conversation. You become the silent authority inside it. The second smart response is for the people who do not attack you directly, but try to drain you slowly. They do not come with open disrespect. They come with endless opinions, endless doubts, endless warnings, endless little comments designed to make you question your own direction. They say, "I just don't think you can do it." They say, "That's not realistic." They say, "People like you don't usually make it that far." They say, "I'm only telling you this for your own good." And if you are not careful, you will mistake their fear for wisdom. You will mistake their limitation for experience. You will mistake their insecurity for truth. This is how many men lose their future. Not through one big defeat, but through 1,000 small suggestions from people who never had the courage to build anything themselves. Machiavelli would warn you that not every enemy arrives with a sword. Some arrive with advice. Some arrive with concern. Some arrive smiling, pretending to protect you from failure, when in reality they are protecting themselves from the discomfort of watching you rise. So when someone keeps trying to pull you into their small mental world, the third smart response is this: "I understand your opinion, but I'm not asking for permission." Say it calmly, say it once, then move. Do not debate your vision with people who are committed to misunderstanding it. Do not explain your hunger to people who worship comfort. Do not ask a prisoner how to become free. Their mind is already locked. Their words are only the sound of chains. The moment you say, "I understand your opinion, but I'm not asking for permission," you create separation. You are not insulting them. You are not attacking them. You are simply removing them from the throne they placed themselves on. Because many people do not give opinions to help you. They give opinions to feel powerful over you. They want to feel like gatekeepers. They want to feel like your confidence must pass through their approval before it becomes valid. And that is where you must become cold, not cruel. Cold. There is a difference. Cruelty wants to hurt others. Coldness refuses to be controlled by others. A man with cold discipline does not need the crowd to clap before he moves. He does not need his family to understand every step. He does not need his friends to believe in his dream before he starts building it. He respects people, but he does not surrender his steering wheel to them. Understand this deeply. Permission is a hidden addiction. Most people are not asking for advice. They are asking for emotional safety. They want someone to say, "Yes, you can do it," before they act. They want applause before the war. They want confirmation before sacrifice. But power does not work like that. Power begins when you stop needing everyone to understand your decisions. Power begins when you can stand alone without feeling abandoned. Power begins when your own standard becomes louder than other people's doubt. The world does not reward the man who explains his plan the best. It rewards the man who executes while everyone else is still talking. And that is why this response is dangerous. It tells people, without drama, that their approval is not the currency you live by. Some will be offended. Let them be. Their offense is not proof that you are wrong. It is proof that they expected control. A person who truly wants the best for you may question you, but they will not try to own you. They may warn you, but they will not poison your courage. They may challenge your thinking, but they will not laugh at your ambition. Learn the difference between wisdom and weakness disguised as wisdom. Learn the difference between guidance and control. Learn the difference between someone who sharpens your mind and someone who quietly clips your wings. Because if you do not learn that difference, you will spend your life shrinking yourself to keep insecure people comfortable. You will lower your voice so they do not feel threatened. You will hide your ambition so they do not feel behind. You will apologize for wanting more because they chose less. Never do that. Never betray your future to protect someone else's ego. A man who is destined to grow must make peace with being misunderstood. He must accept that progress creates distance. He must accept that when he becomes more disciplined, lazy people will call him arrogant. When he becomes selective, needy people will call him cold. When he becomes focused, distracted people will call him boring. When he becomes successful, bitter people will call him lucky. Let them talk. Talking is what people do when they are not building. You are not here to win every conversation. You are here to win the war inside your own life. So the next time someone tries to bury your ambition under their opinion, do not become defensive. Do not beg them to see your point. Do not perform a courtroom speech for a person who already decided the verdict before you entered the room. Just look at them with calm eyes and say, "I understand your opinion, but I'm not asking for permission." Then return to your work. That is the silence that breaks people. Not angry silence, not weak silence. Strategic silence. The kind that says, "Your words have reached my ears, but they have not entered my command center." This is how you protect your mind. This is how you protect your mission. This is how you become dangerous in a world addicted to validation. Because the strongest men are not always the loudest. They are the ones who can move without being emotionally escorted by the crowd. They do not ask, "Will they approve?" They ask, "Is this necessary for the man I am becoming?" And if the answer is yes, they walk. Alone, if needed. Misunderstood, if required. Silent, if wise. Because a king does not ask the village for permission to build his kingdom. He studies the land. He calculates the risk. He sharpens his tools. Then he builds while the village laughs. And one day, the same people who doubted him stand outside the gates, wondering how he became impossible to ignore. If this hits something inside you, comment, "I move without permission," because from today forward, you are done living by borrowed confidence. You are done shrinking for people who fear your growth. You are done explaining your destiny to people who have no vision for their own. Let them keep their opinions. You keep your direction. The third smart response is for the person who tries to pull you into endless explanations. This person does not want clarity. He wants access. He wants to keep you talking until your confidence becomes tired. He asks why you did this, why you said that, why you are changing, why you are quiet, why you are focused, why you stopped coming around, why you no longer laugh at disrespect, why you no longer answer every call, why you no longer accept the old version of your life. And if you are not disciplined, you will fall for the trap. You will start explaining your evolution to someone who benefits from your weakness. You will give a speech to a person who only came to collect ammunition. Understand this deeply. Some people do not ask questions because they want to understand you. They ask because they want to study where to attack you next. They want details, they want reasons, they want emotions, they want your insecurities wrapped in words, and once they get them, they will use them later with a smile. Machiavelli would never advise you to reveal your inner court to a stranger standing at the gate. He would tell you to measure every question by the intention behind it. Because not every person who says, "Explain yourself," deserves an explanation. Some deserve distance. Some deserve silence. Some deserve one clean sentence. And that sentence is this: "I have my reasons." Say it with calm authority. Not anger, not guilt, not apology. I have my reasons. This response is powerful because it closes the door without slamming it. It gives nothing away, yet it says everything. It tells the other person, "My decisions do not require your approval. My private thoughts are not public property. My boundaries are not open for negotiation." This is self-protection. It is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is controlled. A weak man over-explains because he wants to be liked. A fearful man over-explains because he wants to be forgiven. A needy man over-explains because he wants to be understood by people who have no intention of understanding him. But a disciplined man knows that every explanation is a withdrawal from the bank of his mystery, and mystery is power. People cannot manipulate what they cannot fully map. They cannot twist what you never gave them. They cannot weaponize what you never exposed. This is why silence irritates controlling people. They feel entitled to your mind. They think if they pressure you hard enough, you will open the gates and hand them the blueprint. But when you simply say, "I have my reasons," they are forced to stand outside. No access, no leverage, no emotional feast, just a wall. And a wall does not explain why it is a wall. It stands there, strong, quiet, necessary. You must learn to become that wall, especially when you are growing, because every serious transformation creates questions. When you change your habits, people ask why. When you stop wasting nights, people ask why. When you leave toxic groups, people ask why. When you stop begging for attention, people ask why. When you become selective with your energy, people ask why. Most of the time, they are not asking because they care about your answer. They are asking because your change disturbs the version of you they knew how to control. Your discipline exposes their disorder. Your silence exposes their noise. Your progress exposes their excuses. So they push, they question, they test, they try to pull you back into the old contract where you were available, predictable, emotional, easy to read, easy to guilt, easy to influence. But that contract has expired. You do not need to write a report explaining why. You only need to say, "I have my reasons," and continue walking. That is how a man protects his direction. He does not stop at every barking voice on the road. He does not turn every opinion into a meeting. He does not convert his private strategy into public entertainment. He understands that movement requires secrecy. Growth requires privacy. Power requires restraint. The more you explain, the more people believe they have a vote. The less you explain, the more they realize you have already decided. People respect decisions that look final. They test decisions that look emotional. A hesitant decision invites attack. A firm decision changes the atmosphere. If you stand firm and say, "I have my reasons," your energy becomes different. You are no longer requesting understanding. You are announcing control, and control is felt before it is explained. This does not mean you become rude. It means you become selective. Do not confuse politeness with access. Do not confuse kindness with surrender. Do not confuse peace with weakness. You can be calm and still be unavailable. You can be respectful and still be impossible to control. The man who reveals everything becomes easy to predict. The man who explains everything becomes easy to corner. The man who reacts to every question becomes easy to command. But the man who chooses what to reveal becomes difficult. The man who protects his motives becomes dangerous. The man who can answer pressure with restraint becomes untouchable. Imagine someone asking, "Why are you acting different now?" You do not need to deliver your whole history. You do not need to explain the nights you suffered, the betrayals you swallowed, the disrespect you remembered, the quiet promises you made to yourself when nobody was watching. You simply say, "I have my reasons." Let that be enough. Let their curiosity starve. Let their entitlement die from lack of access. Because every time you over-explain, you reduce your own authority. You make your decision look weak, like it needs outside support to survive. But when you speak less, your decision stands taller. It becomes heavier. It becomes real. People begin to feel that you are not asking them to agree. You are letting them witness the result. That is the energy you must build. Quiet finality, calm distance, controlled access, a mind that does not leak, a mouth that does not panic, a presence that does not beg to be understood. From this day forward, stop handing your reasons to people who only want to argue with them. Stop defending your boundaries to people who benefited when you had none. Stop giving long answers to small minds. Your life is not a public trial. Your growth is not a group discussion. Your transformation is not a debate panel. You are allowed to move in silence. You are allowed to protect your plans. You are allowed to disappoint people who expected access to a weaker version of you. That is not arrogance. That is self-command. That is strategy. That is survival in a world where people smile while searching for your openings. So the next time someone pressures you for details you do not want to give, do not become nervous. Do not fill the silence. Do not offer emotional evidence. Look steady and say, "I have my reasons." Then let the silence do the rest. If you are ready to protect your mind like a fortress, comment, "My reasons are mine." Because the moment you stop explaining everything, you stop being easy to enter. And when they cannot enter your mind, they cannot rule your life. The fourth smart response is for the moment someone crosses the line and then expects you to act normal. This is where many people fail. They tolerate disrespect because they fear conflict. They laugh when they should pause. They stay polite when their dignity is being tested. They let someone interrupt them, mock them, belittle them, insult them, and then they keep the conversation alive as if nothing happened. That is how disrespect becomes trained. People do not only learn how to treat you by what you say, they learn by what you allow. Machiavelli would call this a failure of authority, not because you need to dominate every room, but because you must never let another person believe your peace is weakness. There is a difference between being calm and being available for abuse. There is a difference between maturity and silent self-betrayal. A disciplined man does not explode. He also does not absorb poison to prove he is patient. He sets the price. He sets the boundary. He makes the other person understand that access to him can be lost. So when someone becomes rude, insulting, or disrespectful, your fifth smart response is this. I don't continue conversations where respect is missing. Say it once, slowly, calmly, then stop talking. Do not decorate the sentence. Do not explain it. This response is powerful because it does not beg for respect. It does not attack. It simply establishes a law. And every powerful person needs laws. People respect what has consequences. They test what has none. If you keep talking after someone disrespects you, You teach them the door stays open no matter how they enter. But when you say, I don't continue conversations where respect is missing, you show that your attention is not free. Your presence is not guaranteed. This is cold power, not noise, not rage, consequence. The modern world is full of people who confuse access with ownership. Because you answer their messages, they think they own your response. Because you stay calm, they think they can push harder. Because you forgive once, they think disrespect has no cost. But a man who is becoming untouchable must correct that illusion. He must teach the world that his calmness comes with standards. The most dangerous boundary is not shouted. It is enforced quietly. You do not need to threaten people. You only need to remove yourself when they violate the rules of your presence. That removal is the lesson. That absence is the punishment. Understand this. Disrespect is often a test. They want to see how much of yourself you will abandon to keep the peace. They want to see whether you need the relationship more than you respect yourself. They want to see if you will trade dignity for approval, and if you do it once, they will return for more. Small disrespect becomes bigger disrespect. A joke becomes an insult becomes a pattern becomes a prison. Then one day, you wake up surrounded by people who only know the version of you that tolerates being mishandled. Never let it reach that point. The first time someone crosses the line, mark the line. Not with drama, with clarity. I don't continue conversations where respect is missing. This sentence does not ask, why are you being rude? It does not beg, please speak nicely. It says, you are free to behave how you want, but you are not free to keep my access while doing it. That is the psychology of power. You cannot control people. You can control the terms under which they reach you. Many men destroy themselves trying to force others to respect them. Respect that must be begged for is already contaminated. Instead, become the kind of man who withdraws from disrespect so consistently that people adjust or disappear. Both outcomes benefit you. If they adjust, the relationship becomes cleaner. If they disappear, the infection leaves your life. Either way, you win. This is why weak people fear boundaries. Boundaries expose their dependency on your softness. They preferred you when you were easy to guilt, easy to interrupt, easy to shame, easy to manipulate. But when you begin to enforce respect, they call you cold. Let them. Cold is what warm hearts become after being handled by careless hands. Cold is not the absence of feeling. It is the discipline to stop bleeding for people who enjoy the wound. Be kind, but not accessible to disrespect. Be calm, but not passive. Be forgiving, but not forgetful of patterns. The man who remembers patterns becomes difficult to fool. He no longer worships apologies. He watches behavior. He no longer gets seduced by words. He studies consistency. And when respect disappears, he does not chase it. He removes his presence. This is the kind of presence that silences people because it carries consequence. They know you are not bluffing. They know you will leave the table, end the call, stop replying, walk away, or become unavailable. Not to punish like a child, but to protect like a king. A kingdom without gates is not peaceful. It is unguarded. Your mind is a kingdom. Your time is a kingdom. Your energy is a kingdom. And every kingdom that wants to survive must decide who enters, who stays, and who is removed. So the next time someone speaks to you like your dignity is optional, do not argue, do not match their dirt. Look at them with finality and say, I don't continue conversations where respect is missing. Then prove it. End the conversation. Walk away if you must. Silence your phone if you must. Let your absence say what your mouth no longer needs to say. Sometimes the strongest response is the door closing. If this is the standard you are building, comment, my respect has limits. Do not reward disrespect with access. Do not confuse patience with permission, ever. You are not becoming rude. You are becoming ruled by self-respect. The fifth smart response is for the people who try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. These are the emotional negotiators. They do not attack your decisions directly. They attack your conscience. They say, after everything I did for you? They say, so you're just going to leave me like that? They say, you've become selfish. They say, I guess I don't matter anymore. And if your mind is not trained, guilt will enter your chest like a knife dressed as love. You will start questioning your own boundaries. You will start wondering if your discipline is cruelty. You will start apologizing for protecting your peace. This is where many people lose themselves, not because they were defeated by enemies, but because they were emotionally chained by people who learned how to make their freedom feel like betrayal. Machiavelli would understand this clearly. Control is not always built with force. Sometimes control is built with obligation. A person does not need to command you if they can make you feel guilty enough to command yourself. That is darker than direct manipulation because it happens inside your own mind. You become the prison guard. You become the one who stops yourself. You become the one who returns to toxic places because someone looked hurt when you tried to leave. So the sixth smart response is this: I can care about you and still choose what is right for me. Say it calmly. Say it without apology. Say it as if you are reminding both of you where the truth stands. Because this sentence destroys the false choice manipulators try to create. They want you to believe that either you sacrifice yourself or you do not care. Either you obey or you are cruel. Either you stay available or you are selfish. But mature power rejects false choices. You can care and still leave. You can love and still set limits. You can respect someone and still refuse to be controlled by their emotions. You can understand their pain and still not hand them the steering wheel of your life. That is not cold-hearted. That is self-command. Most people have been trained to think kindness means self-abandonment. They think being good means being endlessly accessible, endlessly forgiving, endlessly patient, endlessly available for every emotional storm another person brings. But that is not goodness. That is weakness with a halo. Real kindness has a spine. Real loyalty has standards. Real love does not require you to erase yourself to prove it exists. When you say, I can care about you and still choose what is right for me, you are not rejecting the person. You are rejecting the control strategy. You are saying, your feelings matter, but they are not my master. And that sentence will silence people who survive by emotional pressure because they are used to you confusing compassion with obedience. They are used to you bending the moment they show disappointment. They are used to you becoming nervous when they withdraw affection. They are used to you chasing their approval when they accuse you of changing. But a man who is becoming powerful must stop being ruled by other people's disappointment. Disappointment is not always evidence that you did something wrong. Sometimes it is evidence that you stopped doing what benefited them. Remember that. Some people do not miss you. They miss your usefulness. They miss the version of you that had no boundaries. They miss the version of you that answered instantly, forgave quickly, explained endlessly, and carried burdens that were never yours. When that version dies, they call it betrayal. Let them call it whatever they need to call it. You do not resurrect your weakness to keep someone comfortable. You do not go back to being drained because someone preferred you empty. You do not turn your life into a sacrifice just because another person is addicted to your availability. This is cold power psychology. Guilt is one of the most powerful tools ever used against the human mind. It makes strong people act weak. It makes clear people act confused. It makes disciplined people return to chaos. It makes a man abandon his direction because someone knows exactly which emotional button to press. And the only way to defeat guilt is to separate responsibility from manipulation. You are responsible for your actions. You are not responsible for managing every emotional reaction someone has to your growth. You are responsible for being honest. You are not responsible for making everyone comfortable with your honesty. You are responsible for being respectful. You are not responsible for shrinking yourself so no one feels threatened. The moment you understand this, guilt loses its teeth. You begin to see the game. Someone says, you only think about yourself now, and instead of panicking, you. Hear the translation. I lost control over your choices. Someone says, "You forgot who was there for you." And instead of collapsing, you hear the translation, "I am trying to turn the past into a leash." Someone says, "You've changed." And instead of defending yourself, you hear the translation, "The old tactics do not work anymore." Good, let them fail. Let the old tactics die at the gate of your new identity. You are not here to be emotionally rented by people who only respect you when you obey. You are here to become the kind of person whose peace cannot be purchased with guilt. A dangerous man is not dangerous because he hurts people. He is dangerous because he cannot be guilted into hurting himself. There is a difference. A dangerous man does not weaponize love. He also does not let love become a weapon against him. He understands that caring for someone does not mean surrendering sovereignty over his own life. He understands that every relationship, friendship, family bond, and emotional connection must pass through one gate. Does this connection respect my dignity, or does it require my disappearance? If it requires your disappearance, it is not love. It is possession wearing a soft voice, and possession always becomes angry when the object starts thinking for itself. So when someone tries to pull you back through guilt, breathe. Do not rush. Do not over-explain. Do not drown them in paragraphs. Emotional manipulators love long explanations because every sentence gives them a new hook. They will twist one line, question another, attack another, and suddenly you are defending your right to exist as a separate human being. Do not enter that maze. Use the sentence, "I can care about you and still choose what is right for me." Then stop. The silence after that sentence is a boundary. Let them feel it. Let them wrestle with it. Let them understand that your compassion no longer makes you easy to control. This is where your inner strength becomes visible. Not in anger, not in revenge, not in a dramatic speech, but in calm refusal. Calm refusal is terrifying to controlling people because it gives them nothing to grab. You are not fighting. You are not begging. You are not asking them to approve. You are simply standing inside your own authority, and authority does not need to shout when it is real. From today forward, stop apologizing for choosing peace. Stop apologizing for outgrowing patterns that were destroying you. Stop apologizing for needing distance from people who turn every boundary into a personal attack. Stop apologizing for becoming harder to manipulate. The right people may feel uncomfortable with your growth, but they will not try to punish you for it. The wrong people will treat your boundaries like betrayal because they only loved the version of you they could access at will. Let that reveal them.